I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it. When people talk about the cloud, they're almost always just talking about someone else's computer. Today, I'll be showing you how to remove some of the claws that Apple, Google, and Microsoft have got in you. In case you haven't seen it, there's a part 1 before this video. In part 1, we selected a server, we installed Nextcloud on it, we pointed it at our storage, we added Redis for performance, and we made it accessible from anywhere while still being secure with Tailscale. If you followed along, you've got a fully functional self-hosted cloud storage server humming away on a Raspberry Pi on your shelf, or maybe on another machine. But I made you a promise at the end of that video. I told you that Nextcloud could help you de-Google, de-Apple, and de-Microsoft your life. Today, I make good on that. Welcome back to Dad Explains Everything. Today we go from installed to actually useful. We're going to do two things. First, we're going to walk through the Nextcloud apps that replace software that you're almost certainly paying for right now. Then we're going to set up automatic file syncing on Android, iOS, and Windows. So your stuff just shows up everywhere, the way OneDrive, iCloud, and Google Drive do it today. This is a little different from the previous video. There's a worksheet in the description, but it's mostly to help you load your client devices. You don't really need it to proceed. Let me paint a picture. You're looking at a completely normal, modern household. Someone pays $9.99 a month for iCloud storage. Someone else's Android is backed up to Google One. The family PC syncs to OneDrive with a Microsoft 365 subscription for Word and Excel. There's a shared Google Photos library, a password manager subscription, maybe a Notion or Trello account for keeping things organized. Add it up honestly, and you're probably looking at $400 to $600 a year leaving your house, in exchange for your data living on a bunch of other people's servers. Nextcloud can replace most of that. You've already built the server, let's stock it. It's time to discuss the apps. Do you use Microsoft 365 or Google Docs? Install Nextcloud Office from the App Store. Nextcloud Office is a full Office suite, word processing, spreadsheets, and presentations. It runs inside your browser, integrated directly into Nextcloud. Under the hood, it's powered by Collabora Online, which is built on LibreOffice. There are two pieces to install. The Nextcloud Office app is the integration. The actual document engine is the Collabora Online built-in code server app. For those of you on a Raspberry Pi, make sure you grab the ARM64 version of it. Both install straight from the App Store. No extra containers required. If you're running on x86 hardware and want better performance, you can run Collabora as a dedicated Docker container instead. That's on the worksheet if you want to see it. Nextcloud Office's native formats are open document formats, but it also opens and edits Word, Excel, and PowerPoint files. Because it's LibreOffice and not Microsoft Office, complex Microsoft documents with heavy formatting, macros, or elaborate spreadsheets can have quirks in the conversion. For most people's actual documents, though, like letters, reports, budgets, and school papers, it handles them just fine. If you're starting fresh documents in Nextcloud Office and don't intend to share them, I'd stick with the native formats. Regardless of the format, you get real-time collaboration. Multiple people can have the same document open simultaneously, see each other's cursors, leave comments, and edit at the same time. Track changes is in there too. This is Google Docs behavior, but on your hardware with your files remaining local and private. The interface uses a tab toolbar that will feel familiar enough if you've used Office in the last decade. It's not a pixel-for-pixel Word clone, but nobody in your house is going to need a manual. Fun fact. Microsoft just turned Office 2019 and 2021 on the Mac and iOS into read-only file viewers, even though you bought a perpetual license. That's right, after July 13th, 2026, those buy it once, own it forever copies can open documents, but they can't edit or save them. So much for perpetual. So I feel like there's extra incentive to look at a free and self-hosted alternative. Regarding performance, Nextcloud Office on a Raspberry Pi works, and the built-in code server makes setup painless. The experience is best with a Raspberry Pi 4 or 5. Opening a document can take a few seconds, and the first one after a restart takes the longest. Editing is fine once it's loaded. If you're on anything with more horsepower, like an old PC, a newer x86 mini PC, or a NAS with a real CPU, the experience gets to be top-notch. The math here is straightforward. Microsoft 365 Family is roughly $100 a year. Google Workspace Personal is $72 a year. Nextcloud Office is $0 a year, running on hardware you already paid for. If you are already using Google Apps for free, I'd say that the main benefit to switching is making sure that Google can't possibly see your documents. That has to be worth something. If you use Microsoft OneNote, Apple Notes, or Google Keep, you should install Nextcloud Notes. Notes is deceptively simple and genuinely excellent. It's a markdown-based note-taking app that stores every note as a plain text file inside your Nextcloud. That last part matters. Your notes aren't locked in a proprietary format or a database that you can't export. They're files. They live in a folder. You can read them with any text editor on any device forever. The web interface is clean. The left panel is your note list. The right panel is the editor. Markdown renders as you type. You can organize by category and search across everything instantly. Where it shines is the mobile experience. There are excellent native apps for both Android and iOS. Search for Nextcloud Notes in your respective app store. The Android app in particular is fast and polished. You get offline access and changes sync when you're back online. For quick notes from your phone that you want to access later on your desktop, it's frictionless. What it is: a private, fast, cross-device note sync system where you own every byte. What it isn't: Notion. If you need databases, linked references, and embedded media, look at collectives, which I'll cover in a moment. Want a LastPass or Bitwarden replacement? Install Passwords by Johannes Riedel. I have a full video on password managers linked in the description. The short version: a password manager is non-negotiable, and a self-hosted one means that the vault doesn't live on someone else's server. LastPass has been breached multiple times. The encrypted vaults are in the wild right now, being cracked against offline hardware. You can avoid that. The Nextcloud Passwords app gives you a full password manager with a web interface, folder organization, tagging, password generation, breach detection against have I been owned, and a sharing feature for household passwords. It has browser extensions for Chrome and Firefox that can handle autofill the way you'd expect. There are mobile apps for Android and iOS. The Android app is solid. The iOS app works, but is a step behind on polish, so consider that your warning. The one thing to get right: make sure that you understand that your Nextcloud admin password is not your vault encryption key. The app has its own security layer on top of Nextcloud authentication. Read the setup section on the worksheet before you migrate your passwords. Do I use the Passwords app? No, I don't. I use KeePass. However, if I wasn't already committed to KeePass, I'd consider Passwords. And really, if you've already got a Nextcloud server anyway, it's worth considering. The catch is that this setup requires you to be using secure HTTP. Generally speaking, that isn't required for your Nextcloud server because you're only accessing it locally or through Tailscale, which is already encrypted. However, if anyone wants to get secure HTTP with or without the Passwords app going, let me know, and I'll make that video too. Put your vote in the comments below. Generally, dealing with security certificates can be a bit of a pain for many, but I can show you how to generate and apply the cert straight from Tailscale. I can also show you how to set up the Tailscale proxy, and you can do that all in 5 minutes or less. Like I said, comment below if you want that video. Next on deck is Deck. I don't know how many of you use tools like Trello, ClickUp, Monday, or Taiga, but I will say that once you've used an organizational tool like any of them, it's hard to go back. So if you know what I'm talking about, you're going to want to install Nextcloud Deck. Kanban boards, cards, columns, labels, assignments, due dates, attachments. If you've used Trello, you already know the concept. Deck integrates with your Nextcloud calendar for due dates and with Talk for notifications. If you pay for Trello right now, this is a free replacement. If you've never used a Kanban board, it's a good way to manage any project with more than a handful of moving pieces. Practically speaking, I use Deck to manage my house projects and long-term tasks. I have a Monday subscription for managing my YouTube backlog, but I'm honestly considering migrating even that to Deck. Do you use Google Tasks or Todoist? Well, install Nextcloud Tasks. Tasks is a to-do list manager that integrates with your Nextcloud calendar via the CalDAV standard. That means that your tasks and your calendar share the same data layer. Tasks with due dates show up on your calendar, and any CalDAV-capable client can see them. The interface gives you lists, subtasks, priorities, due dates, notes, and tags. It's a solid replacement for Google Tasks or a lightweight Todoist, and because it's CalDAV under the hood, it syncs to iOS reminders natively on Apple devices and to apps like tasks.org on Android. For shared grocery lists, install Shopping List from the Community Apps section. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a shared, syncable shopping list. Multiple people in a household can add items from their own devices, check things off in real time, and organize by category. It's not a flashy, feature-rich app, but it does one thing very well. If your household is currently using a shared note or a texted list for groceries, this is the upgrade. In our house, this is the thing that keeps us from running out of eggs, butter, toilet paper, or paper towels, and it's helped to reduce the number of things that we buy too much of. Collectives. This is your Notion or Confluence replacement. This is one of the more underrated apps in the Nextcloud ecosystem. Collectives is a wiki-styled knowledge base like Notion or Confluence, but self-hosted and privacy-respecting. You create collectives, which are essentially workspaces. Inside each one, you build out pages with Markdown, embed files, link pages, and organize into hierarchies. It's built for teams or households that want a shared knowledge base, documentation, how-tos, reference material, household info, homelab notes. I use it to have a clean reference of everything having to do with the house, the appliances, a history of vendor service, and even what electrical panel each room in the house is on. We have 4 electrical panels. The dogs and all of their vet records are out there too. And it may seem morbid, but my death quick start manual is out there too. That's every person and company that Mom the Creative needs to contact in the event that I die. All of the accounts, the way to claim my death benefit from my company's HR contact, everything. If you have people that depend on you and they would struggle to pull together this information on their own, you should really think about doing this too. If you currently dump everything into Notion, and you're paying for it, or you're uncomfortable with your notes living on someone else's servers, Collectives is the answer. It's not as visually polished as Notion, but the benefit is that it's yours. Next up is Cookbook, because your screenshots folder is not the way an adult organizes their recipes. Cookbook is a recipe manager that stores recipes as structured files inside your Nextcloud. You can import recipes directly from URLs, pasting in a link from any major recipe site. Like magic, it will parse the ingredients, steps, and metadata automatically. Alternatively, you can enter your recipes manually. There are companion apps for Android and iOS for cooking mode access from your phone or tablet. Ingredients scale when you adjust the serving size. Search works across your full recipe library. It's one of those apps that's more polished than it has any right to be for a free, self-hosted tool. Your family recipes live on your server and nowhere else. You can make Nextcloud a dashboard by installing external sites. This one is simple but surprisingly useful. External sites let you embed external URLs as items in your Nextcloud navigation header bar. You define a name, a URL, and an icon, and that site appears as a menu item in your Nextcloud interface. The practical meaning of this is if you're already using Nextcloud as your daily driver, you can use it as a dashboard for your HomeLab. Add links to your Pi-hole interface, to your router admin page, to your NVR, to your Home Assistant instance, whatever you're running. That way you don't have to remember host names, URLs, or port numbers. Everything is accessible from one place inside your already secured Nextcloud login. Just be sure to use your Tailscale IPs and URLs. Then there's OCCweb, admin power tools for Nextcloud in a browser. This one's for the more technically inclined. In Nextcloud, OCC is the command line admin tool. It's how you do things that the web UI doesn't expose, like forcing a file system rescan, clearing caches, managing users in bulk, running database repairs, or configuring settings that aren't surfaced in the UI. Normally, OCC requires SSHing into your Nextcloud server and running commands from the terminal. OCCweb puts the web interface on top of that. You get a drop-down of available OCC commands, parameter inputs, and output displayed in the browser. No SSH required. Useful commands you'll actually run: file scan all, maintenance repair, database add missing indices, app update, and config system get version. If you've ever seen a yellow warning banner in your Nextcloud admin panel telling you to run an OCC command and thought, yeah, I'm not doing that, OCCweb is your answer. Then we have diagrams, your Lucidchart and Visio replacement. Maybe it's just me, but I have a bunch of tools that I use for work that I also find useful when I'm home. So I've installed diagrams, also referred to as the Draw.io integration. This embeds a full Draw.io diagramming editor inside of Nextcloud. You get flowcharts, network diagrams, org charts, wireframes, ER diagrams, the full Draw.io feature set, creating and saving files directly to your Nextcloud storage. Lucidchart starts at about $10 a month. Visio is part of the higher tier Microsoft 365 plans. Draw.io via Nextcloud is free. Your diagrams are files in your Nextcloud, and they're in an open XML format you can open anywhere. For homelab network diagrams alone, it's worth installing. But it's not just these apps. There are a ton of other apps. You should explore the app showcase and see what's out there. All of the apps I showed you are free, but it's worth noting that not all of the apps are free. I don't think that should stop you, as it's a cool thing to pay for whatever you find valuable. The one thing I would be very careful about is that some of the apps actually just front-end cloud services, which is kind of against the whole self-hosting vibe. Now we're to setting up the clients. This is where self-hosting meets the convenience that you're used to from iCloud, Google Drive, and OneDrive. Automatic syncing, files just appearing, photos back up by themselves. You don't have to think about it. I'm covering Android, iOS, and Windows. An important note is for all of these, you'll connect using your Tailscale IP address or your Tailscale fully qualified domain name and port 8080. Something like this. Assuming you also have Tailscale loaded on your mobile device, the Tailscale references work whether you're home or away, so that's what I recommend using consistently. Write yours down on the worksheet. First up is Android. You're going to install the Nextcloud app. You'll do this by launching the Play Store, searching Nextcloud, and installing the official app by Nextcloud GmbH. This is your file sync client, your photo backup client, and your access point for notes, deck, talk, and everything else. Step 2 is connecting to your server. Open the app, tap Login, enter your Tailscale server address, enter your Nextcloud credentials, and you're done. Step 3 is the Android client functionality. We have file sync. Any folder you flag as available offline syncs to your device. Changes you make locally sync back to the server. This is OneDrive and Google Drive behavior, but on your hardware. Auto photo upload. Go to Settings, Auto Upload, and Enable. You select your target folder on Nextcloud. Every photo and video you take from this point forward is automatically uploaded to your server. This is your Google Photos pipeline. It's Wi-Fi only by default, but you can change that. And then finally, you have app access. Notes, Deck, Talk, Cookbook all have companion Android apps. Search for them in the Play Store separately. They use the same server credentials. Step 4 is optional. It's Contacts and Calendar Sync. You can use DavX5. The Nextcloud app does not sync contacts and calendar on its own. You can install DavX5 from the Play Store, but it will cost you a few dollars. And I'm not saying that the app isn't worth that, but you can alternatively install it from F-Droid for free. Then you'll create a new account in DavX5. You'll choose login with URL and username, and you'll follow the steps on the worksheet. You select what to sync. From that point, your Android contacts and calendar apps pull from your Nextcloud server. No Google account required for this data. Step 5 is also optional, and it's the Tasks sync. You can install tasks.org. This is another instance where installing from the Play Store will cost you money. Play Store version requires a paid subscription. Installing from F-Droid is free. In the settings, add a CalDAV account pointing to your Nextcloud. Tasks.org discovers your Nextcloud tasks list and syncs them bidirectionally. It's one of the best task apps on Android regardless of the back end. Now we're to iOS for iPhone and iPad. Step 1 is installing the Nextcloud app. You'll go to the App Store, search Nextcloud, and load the official app by Nextcloud GmbH. Step 2 is logging into your server. You'll open the app, log in by entering your server address and credentials. Step 3 is the iOS client capabilities. You get files integration. Nextcloud appears as a location on the iOS Files app. This integrates directly into the Apple file system. Anything you put in that folder from any device will show up here. Auto Photo Upload. Go to Settings inside of the Nextcloud app. Go to Auto Upload and Enable. Select your upload folder. Your camera roll is now automatically backed up to your server. If you're paying for extra iCloud storage primarily because of photos, this is your exit. And then background sync. iOS is more restrictive about background processes than Android. Sync happens when the app has background refresh enabled, and also when you open up the app. For most use cases, this is fine. Just know that this is not quite as nice as on Android. Step 4. Contacts and Calendar. iOS has native CalDAV and CardDAV support built into the operating system. No third-party app needed. Go to Settings, Calendar, Accounts, Add Account, Other, Add CalDAV account, and the server is your Tailscale address. Username and password are your Nextcloud credentials. iOS discovers your calendars automatically. Repeat the same process with Add CardDAV account for contacts. Your iOS Contacts app and Calendar app now sync to your Nextcloud server. That data lives on your hardware. And then Step 5. Task Sync. iOS reminders support CalDAV natively. Add the same CalDAV account you created above, and your Nextcloud tasks will appear in the Reminders app. Native integrations, 0 additional apps required. Finally, we have Windows. Step 1 is installing the Nextcloud desktop client. Go to nextcloud.com/install and download the Windows desktop client. Install it. It runs in the system tray. Step 2. Connect to your server. Open the client, click Login, enter your Tailscale server address, and it opens a browser window for authentication. Confirm it, and you're connected. Step 3. Step 3 is what the Windows client actually does and how it differs from just running Nextcloud in a browser. First is Virtual Drive mode. This is the recommended mode. Nextcloud creates a folder in Explorer. Files appear as if they're local, but stream them from your server on demand. Specific folders can be pinned for offline access. This is equivalent to OneDrive's files on demand. Then there's Full Sync mode. This is an alternative mode that syncs a folder completely to local storage. Everything in your selected Nextcloud folder is always on your hard drive and is always on the server. Changes sync automatically in both directions. Then there's Selective Sync. You choose which top-level Nextcloud folders appear on this machine. Your work laptop might just sync the work folder. Your home desktop might sync everything. Then there's File Explorer integration. Right-click any synced file to share it. View version history or copy a link. Same functionality as OneDrive's Explorer integration. And then we have conflict handling. If the same file is edited in 2 devices while offline, Nextcloud creates conflict copies so nothing is lost. You resolve the conflicts manually. Step 4. Contacts and Calendar on Windows. Windows doesn't have native CalDAV or CardDAV support. Your options are Thunderbird, Outlook with a plugin, or the Nextcloud Web UI. There's more information on the worksheet for these 3 options. When I set up Nextcloud for the first time, I didn't immediately see the appeal. I was already using a bunch of free and open source software tools to manage my life. I already had a VPN set up at my house so I could access my LAN on the go, which also meant accessing my SAN as well as the rest of my servers. But just like having 5 remotes on my coffee table made complete sense to me as a single guy, that setup isn't for everyone. I've come to understand that most people just want a simple, consistent, and easy-to-use experience. Practically, what building out your Nextcloud really does is to let you cancel iCloud or Google One, then LastPass, then the Microsoft Office subscription. I think you'll find that you want to get to where your photos are backing up to your own drive, your passwords are in your own vault, your recipes are in your own database, and nobody else is indexing any of it. Or training an AI model on it, or accidentally leaking your data in a breach. That's a different feeling. It's a good one. If you want a part 3 covering Nextcloud on a NAS, encrypted offsite backup strategy, enabling secure HTTP, and the Passwords app on Nextcloud, or anything else, let me know in the comments. If you found this useful, hit like, subscribe, and share this with anyone who is ready to stop paying rent for their own data. If you want to support my work, please hype the video and consider becoming a member. Not a big deal, so it's pretty cheap. If you really like what I'm doing, there are expensive tiers too. And speaking of members, I want to thank the new members on the screen for their support. Thanks, and have a great self-hosted day.